Are you wondering why in Central Europe this year's July was exceptionally cool and rainy? Is it related to climate change? A few months ago, we started implementing the global NASA atmospheric data into the Scan the Sun application. We came across an interesting data that might reflect the rainy nature of summer periods in Europe. We studied direct solar radiation, so the amount of solar energy reaching the surface of the Earth at clear sky conditions. This amount depends heavily on the weather conditions. For statistical analysis, we used NASA data collected over the years 1983-2005 by more than 200 satellites. We passed these data through the Scan the Sun team computers. For this video, we have selected an area around Berlin, Germany. We obtained a chart of direct sunlight averaged over the period 1983-2005. There are months on the horizontal axis and the solar direct radiation energy that reaches the ground level per day on the vertical axis. The most interesting thing is the flattening of the chart in the summer. We can even talk about the existence of a minimum reflecting cloudy weather in summers observed by 22 years of measurements. We decided to follow this effect for a much longer period. To accomplish this task, we took the data of the ground weather stations in Germany instead of the satellite NASA data. Imagine that to this day, every single hour for the last 70 years, the direct solar energy is measured by the Deutscher Wetterdienst for the area of Germany. We passed the data from a ground station near Berlin through the Scan the Sun team computers. And here are the obtained results. Data from last year, a clear breakdown of the weather in July, similar to the situation this year. Of course, one-year data may be subject to statistical fluctuations. Therefore, we have calculated 10 years averages for each decade starting from the 50s. As you can see, there is no summer break in the 50s. In summer of the 60s, instead of flattening, there is even a clear peak in the graph. Signs of change appear in the 70s, where in the summertime the chart is slightly flattened. The clear minimum appears in the 80s, which corresponds to the cloudy and rainy summers in Europe. The minimum is also observed in the 90s. One might conclude that there is a progressive climate change if there were no surprising reversal of the situation in the first decade of the 2000s. The 6-year average of the current decade shows a complete absence of a minimum in the summer. It is like a cycle has come full circle. There is a striking difference in the amount of incoming sunlight for each decade. It's up to 30%. Is the climate change a subject to 2-decade cycles? This is certainly a question for climatologists. Have last year and this year rainy July announced the next 20-year cycle of rainy weather in the summer? As a summary, we present a comparison of the data measured by ground stations in Germany with an independent NASA satellite data set. Clear compatibility of both sets is observed. NASA satellite data available at this web page, as well as the Deutscher Wetterdienst ground stations data available on the following FTP server, were used for the calculations presented in this video.